Hi, I'm Harshal Mehta, Chief Information Security Officer at CWT. Have worked in the cyber industry for more than 2 decades. Currently based in Minneapolis, I sit on multiple advisory boards as well as part of advisory in North America. As a CISO, when you get up in the morning, you are onboarded with so many security stacks, technologies. When I get up, I wanted to have a single kind of dashboard where I could see the maturity of my organization on multiple domains, call it the identity management, awareness training, vulnerability management, patching, and so on. Before Onyxia, everything was not automated, it was manual. We were having my teams and analysts running into multiple software technologies and running those dashboards manually. That's what we wanted to automate with having a centralized tool which could take in input from multiple security stacks and give a singular view from maturity and benchmarking perspective. Before Onyxia, everything was manual. It was pretty time consuming to have my team spend multiple hours looking at the data, looking at the report, putting it into an automated fashion, which me and the security executive leadership team can make materialize information of what the output is. With Onyxia, everything is automated. It's an API-driven tool, which makes my life much more easier. Rather than spending my and my team's time on collating the data, now we spend significant time on understanding the output, understanding how our maturity progresses, and from there make decisions on the future course of our program. With any kind of SaaS-based solution, obviously my biggest fear was we have so many security stack tools, it's different. Some were on-premise, some were on cloud. That was my concern, is how would a single solution fit into our landscape and give us a singular view? And to my surprise, everything went like magic in the background. We started with a proof of concept, which was less than probably 2 weeks. And from there, we kickstarted the implementation process. Once we onboarded the solution, everything was up and ready within probably 3 to 4 weeks. So it was a great success story. My team didn't have to spend a lot of time and energy integrating. It was just providing them the credentials, giving them access to our APIs, and everything worked in the background. It's a great success story for us. We have worked with a lot of similar kind of solutions in the past. When we go into the sales cycle, a lot of things are promised, and then when we go under the onboarding process, it doesn't work well. Being a challenging organization and infrastructure we have, the implementation, the onboarding process was unbelievably good. I think the best part of the process was delivering on the promises from a solution perspective, which we wanted. We got a lot of information on how we could leverage some of the capabilities. Predictive AI is one which we didn't start off at the implementation, but in the process, I guess the sales team, the customer success team educated us on how our peers are using it and how we could fully utilize this solution to the maximum output. I would say roughly every quarter, my team would go in and manually pull these reports. It would be anywhere between, 4 weeks to 6 weeks in a year where people would just be gathering the data and putting it in the tool. With Onyxia, that's all being automated. We do not spend the time collating the data. The data is intuitively added through API into the solution. There's a significant time saved. We have not replaced any headcount. The time saved is now used to analyze the data rather than collating the data, which is goldmine for us. So I would say that is the biggest thing, is significant savings on time and energy on analyzing the data. And the second piece is the decisions what we are making, either on forecasting our risk score, giving a dashboard to our management, what projects we want to do it for next year. These are all not guesswork. These are all educated, data-driven decisions which are backed up by a solution. Most of the CISOs struggle with the automation and the results of a lot of manual processes which go in the background. For us and a lot of CISOs, there are two ways where Onyxia is going to be super helpful. One is the tactical day-to-day operational piece, where my security leadership could get the data intuitively without running a script or without running a report on a weekly basis. This report is available daily from the tool, where they could socialize it with the technology leaders, with application leaders, and get a remediation plan on a daily basis without waiting for a dashboard to be onboarded. And from a strategic perspective, both my leadership, myself, the audit committee, we can get an on-site view of how the program is running compared to our competitors, compared to our peers, and help us make an informed decision on our future spending program as well as our investments. Another differentiator from Onyxia is the preemptive behavioral side. As a CISO, we always want to make sure from a compliance perspective, from a risk perspective, how are you looking at future and securing the organizations against say breaches or even compliance failures. We have a big program on PCI, NIST, and Cyber Essentials. How can we now sitting here predict that this is where the next 6 months, if I do not remediate these vulnerabilities, my PCI compliance is at stake, or my patching would fail, or I would have an exposure into our external perimeter, which is going to get an incident. So I think this is where the preemptive side of Onyxia helps me with a data-driven perspective to not just look at my dashboarding for the past week, but also predict for the future on how the program, if I do not action anything, how it's going to be looked at. So from a liability perspective, the responsibility lies on two big parties. One is the CISO, obviously, and the other one is the board of directors. From a CISO perspective, you always want to make sure deliver on the promises, you are reducing on the risk, and aligning with the business objectives. To get a clear view of all the three pillars, you need data. And that's where we are going to use Onyxia, is to get data just not from a patching or identity, but across all the big domains of information security. And then you can showcase how the program is maturing on a weekly basis, daily basis, monthly basis. And just not that, you're also benchmarking it against your peers to also view it from an industry perspective, how you are progressing. So those are good data points from a leadership perspective to showcase that as a leader, you have invested in the right domains. There is a consistent process and a path for investment, for reducing the risk, and you are following a structured data-driven process. From a board perspective, I think they are vested as well with the new SEC requirements to be security aware and to make informed decisions. Without data, they would really struggle to understand what is the risk appetite of the organization. And this is where Onyxia would be super helpful, is it's not just the CISO or Harshal speaking, it's the data speaking. And just not data for the organization, but also for the peers. So they could also get a clearer view of how the organization is performing, how the metrics are performing, and how the investments are working. The future where Onyxia is currently helping in and also aligning it with our strategy is automation, having an AI inbuilt into our solution. So I would say a few areas which covers this pretty well. The first one is predictive. I would say as a CISO, anyone who has gone through an insurance renewal, the first thing they do is do a breach simulation or understand how are you going to get breached. It's a very data driven exercise without any context. It just takes in how big is your organization, how much is the revenue, how many data centers. The data cannot be quantified into a breach simulation. Onyxia has a similar kind of functionality, except everything we talk about is fully backed up with data. So their output which comes out is more on using the data which is already coming from the solutions and giving it an AI view on what is the next big thing which the organization should be focusing on. I think that's where the predictive or AI or automation helps in to make a big difference, is now you're not just swimming in the air, but you are actually using the data to use it and make an informed decision. The second piece is obviously the use of AI agents. I think that's another piece which is going to significantly help out with everything we are doing on Gen AI and Agentic AI. Onyxia has a spin of AI, which is going to help us to get responses on, hey AI, tell me how is my patch management working for the last few weeks? And without even running a report, the Agentic AI is going to run a report and give me a dashboard, which is pretty intuitive. And the last piece is the mobile piece in itself. Every morning I could just open up a mobile-based application and get feeds on how is the program doing, what's the next big thing in the cyber industry, what's the new zero vulnerability which has hit the organization, and then bring it back to the organization using Onyxia is what is my exposure level. So these are the future-looking outlooks, which really helps from a program perspective and embedding AI into the program. Apart from the strategic and the tactical view which we have, as CISOs, the biggest concern we have is how's the program performing? As a security function, you're delivering on the business objectives as well as reducing the risk. That's where aligning the investment with your risk is so critical. A lot of times the investment doesn't align with the business objectives, and that's where the crux of the solution is. You would understand the risk of the organization, and in parallel, the investment is aligned with those risk priorities. So that helps to make an informed decision, not just for the board, but also for the CISO, and as a broader organization that you're doing the work in a pretty synchronized fashion.